Hello, boys and girls. So, we are in our last lesson for topic 9, and today's lesson is going to focus on not just dividing but also multiplication. And we're going to be looking at word problems to decide which operation to use. And that really means we're going to have to read closely and pay attention to those key words in our word problems as we apply cubes, because that's really what's going to help us determine which operation we should be using. So let's look at our word problem on the screen here to get started. We have suppose Edith collects $5 from each of the 42 students in order to pay for costs for the picnic. How much money should she collect? And then we need to be able to explain how we know which operation to use. So let's start by applying cubes. If she's collecting $5 from each of the 42 students in order to pay for the class picnic, how much money should she collect? She's collecting this $5 from each student, and there's 42 students. And they want to know how much money she should collect. Now, this is an in-all question. If we know that the $5 is how many she's getting from each of those 42 students, the 42 students is our number of groups. The $5 is how much is in each of those 42 groups. We don't have a total, so this should tell us that we are using multiplication. We are doing 42 times 5 equals, and we don't know how much money she has yet, so we're just going to use a dollar sign to set it equal to. So when I'm looking at this, I say 42 times 5. Well, that's a 2-digit by a 1-digit. I know that I can write my 42 like this with my 5 underneath. This problem should look pretty familiar. I'm going to circle my 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Regroup. 5 times 1 is 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 1 is 21. So how much money does Edith collect? $210. All right, so let me clear my screen. How did we know which operation to use is the question. And if I move my big yellow block here, it says, because you use multiplication to find the total amount of money to be collected. You have the number of people, which was 42, and we had the amount each person should pay, which was 5. So 42 times 5 equaled $210. Let's look at a different problem now. Let's look at this one. The class decides to have the picnic at an amusement park. 4 students buy a total of 35 tickets for rides. If the students get the same number of tickets, how many tickets does each student get? And then what is the meaning of the remainder? So the last question kind of gives us a little bit of a clue to this one. We have 4 students, that's one of our first numbers, and they buy a total of 35 tickets. And I'm going to box total because if you remember from a few days ago, I said in a division problem, we start with the larger number of the total that we're working with. So in this case, we have a total of 35 tickets for 4 students. If the students get the same number of tickets, how many tickets does each student get? So my division sentence is going to be this. It's going to be 35 divided by 4. And we don't know how many tickets yet, so we're just going to set it equal to t. So if I do my long division like we've done and apply our does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, I'm going to write that right over here. I say to myself, 4 can go into 35 8 times because 8 times 4 is 32. So there's my division and my multiplication. Now I subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 3 is nothing, so we're good. I check. 3 is less than 4, so we're good. And there's no other numbers over here to bring down, So we are good. So we have 8, remainder 3. So how many students or how many tickets does each student get? Looking at our answer here. I'm going to ignore my remainder for a minute. And I'm going to say that each student gets 8 tickets. This 3 means there's 3 tickets left over. And they're asking, what is the meaning of that remainder? If I only have 3 tickets left over, am I able to give those other 4 students each one more? I'm not, because 3 is less than 4. So I have 3 tickets left over. They would not be able to be split equally. So if I clear my screen here for you and move our yellow, it says each student will get 8 tickets because 35 divided by 4 equaled 8, remainder 3. There's going to be 3 tickets left over because there's no way to split them up 4 ways. And it would not be fair to give only 3 of those students tickets and not the other one. So that's what that remainder means in this case. So sometimes that remainder is going to help us either figure out if we need more of something or if we don't have enough of something in this case. So that is what we're going to be focusing on when you come into class tomorrow, is trying to determine which of the operations we're going to be using, multiplication or division, based on those keywords in our word problems. Thank you, boys and girls.